That's my house, baby. That is my house in the album. Like, it's crazy. That's my house. No, but seriously, when I saw this thing, I was like, that is literally the building I used to, yeah, like 3 years, man. Like, why is my house on a Japanese music album? What is this thing, man? But so literally, like, it was a crazy just feeling because, I mean, I used to work at this place for about 3 years, like literally at next to the image. So I'm going to work like a 10 days ago, yeah. And I'm just like, you know, trying Spotify. I'm like, wait, that I basically lived that place. Like, I used to work in that building over there, basically. Yeah, I was like, wait, what? But let me explain where it lives then and so on in Sweden. But it's kind of hilarious. I was like, because I listened to Yorushika for years, right? Never knew this thing. And after this, we're gonna listen to one of my favorite songs from Yorushika. But first and foremost, so apparently Elma used to live in Sweden growing up. If I said it correctly here, right? I mean, genuinely, like I said, I was shocked, man. I was like, so yeah. So I'm literally going to work, right? And about like 10 years ago or so, I worked for a game company at this street. It's just like a minute from this place. Literally, from the image. So it's like immediately, like, oh, I know exactly where it is. I will show you on the map soon, guys. But I just want to tell you a story, right? I mean, honestly, I was just like, you know, you're going through my Japanese playlist, right? And it's like, wait, that is Sweden. That's I used to live there. I was like, wait, what? I used to live there for 3 years. I was like, wait, what? I recognize this place immediately. I was quite a shock, honestly. I was like, wait, what's happening? It's a kind of twilight zone. Why is that Sweden? So Thor reacts to That's why I got up on music, right? Yorushika. But first and foremost, guys, right? I am, of course, Swedish. I have the evidence, guys, okay? Lingon berries, okay? An old lingonberry jam. If you have this at home, you're a true Swede. First of all, the video, guys, I'm going to go into and explaining my honest shock, right? Going to work, realizing that I used to work at the place with the Almedalen. On Tyska, this place in Gamla. I'll play it soon here in the video. I was shocked on the intro. I was genuinely shocked, right? I was like, wait, what? I used to live there. Wait, that's where I used to live. Why is this awesome Japanese band Spotify has the album from my address, basically? I was like, what? I used to literally live like a minute from the place. It's crazy. But after that, we also got to listen to the actual song, right? And I decided to go for this song then as my first Yorushika reaction. Because I was like, man, yeah, of course, this is about them in Sweden. I heard this, it's this crazy because I heard this song, right, so many times. I heard Yorushika a lot of times, right? I probably heard the song 100 times, right? But I never thought about it that it's supposed to be in Sweden. Or until I saw the album on Spotify, I was like, wait, that is Gamla 100%. And I was thinking about it last week because we did the Liar game, right? With Yorushika's new song called Bubble, so link below for that. And that's why people were commenting, oh yeah, Yorushika. I was like, you know what? That time that I went to work. It happened like a month ago, honestly. So I heard Yorushika for many years, right? Never realized when it's Swedish. But I'll spell it now then, the Swedish back to Yorushika. And then we go into the song. Ärlig historia. Sann historia. I was going to work last year, right? And I listened to Yorushika a lot. I like Yorushika. This is one of my many liked song lists on Spotify, right? Spotify, of course, also for that matter, Swedish company. But anyway, so I'm going to work, right? Put on Spotify, and I want to listen to Yorushika, so adding it to one of my lists, right? And I immediately see the image, right, of the album here. I used to work at this literal place. So I was like, man, this is some interesting storyline here. Is Yorushika Swedish or something? I'll be reading up on it now then. So first and foremost, we're here then, right? Here is where the image is, okay? From the album of Yorushika. I used to work up here. So it's literally like, you know, like a minute to walk. This is over there, 2 minutes to walk. Yeah, you checked before this thing, right? And I used to work here in the Tyska Brinken, this street. It's my office was. This is Tyska Skolgränd, or Skolgränd. So Tyska means German, okay? Tyska, that is a Swedish word for German. And of course, there's a church here, right, called Tyska Kyrkan, right? So that is the German church. And that is why the streets are all named Tyska as well, right? So anyway, if you zoom out a bit, spend a bit of work here in Stockholm. Here then, this is called the Old Town, okay? Gamla. As I tend to call it Gamla staden, but whatever. And here is a castle and so on. If you ever go into Sweden, you definitely want to go up here then. If you ever go here, you definitely want to go to Gamla stan. As you can see here, right? This is the castle. This is the royal castle where the king and queen is on, and the queen, etc. And next here, in front of it, okay, here is Riddarmuseet. This is the Knight Museum, okay. So you go down here, so you can find image here. Basically, you go down here, right, on this island. I did it with my mom actually like a few years ago. So you definitely want to go here as well and go inside here. Okay, this is the main castle. This over here is the other main castle. This is the giant castle, right? This is another castle kind of thing. You go in here. This is like the night museum. Definitely want to go here. But so yeah, the image here is a very classic, iconic place in Sweden, right? Here you got the Noble Museum, of course. You got the old church. Here you have the Royal Knight Church over here. So you know this is a very recognizable image. Here is of course the one, right? So you definitely want to go to this place in Sweden with image are. Because yeah, there's nothing really as iconic as Gamla stone, honestly. I would say. I'm not saying it's Yorushika, but it is a good image, right? So like I said, you should remember this is where we are then, right? This is kind of where images, yeah. German Brunsplatz on German and so on, right? Because the rest of the city, right, is not as iconic as this place. It really isn't. Just to give you a little bit more explain how it works in Sweden than Stockholm. So out a bit, right? We have Stockholm. This is called Norrmalm, okay? This is Södermalm. And Östermalm is up here and so on. These are the rich neighborhoods, the nice neighborhoods. Djurgården is up here. This is kind of where the rich people live. And this region up in this Kungsholmen and so on. This is Lidingö. That's a pretty expensive place. For so on. And here you kind of have all the questionable places in this area here. But basically, right, if you're tourist in Stockholm, you kind of visit these areas, right? So you visit, so again, the old town then is very much in the center, right, where all tourism is. And all the other museums and like, you know, legendary buildings are kind of up here, right? All the other stuff. Here is like the amusement park. This is the Northern Museum, Vasa Museum, right? Northern Museum. And here you have the ABBA Museum. And then you have Gröna Lund here then, which is the big amusement park. This is a very famous amusement park in Stockholm. Very popular. It's very nicely located. And I think we have a better image if we look from the night area instead. You can see it over the water. So it's a very nice location, don't get me wrong. But as a side note, okay, the best amusement park in Sweden is to point out, guys, the best park though, amusement park in Sweden, is of course Liseberg, which is in Göteborg instead, right? So I pointed out so you don't get the wrong idea. It is 10 times better than Gröna Lund, okay? No, but it is actually a much better amusement park. And I am from the West Coast, alright? I went to school with PewDiePie and all the good stuff, right? But we are from this region, though. So maybe I'm biased, but if you ask Felix, he will agree with me. Liseberg is much better than Gröna Lund, guys. Seriously, Christ, it's terrible. Okay, so the next place, again, Göteborg is the best place ever. So again, the next place we're gonna go to, right, is over here then. It's what I experienced Yorushika, right? Visby. Okay, so if you don't know what it is, Gotland. This is the island, right? That Russia was to conquer all the time. That's in the joke. I should joke about that. And down here is like Kaliningrad is down here. If you're gonna be really specific, here's Russia, right? Yeah, but honestly, as a genuine side here, guys, some people understand, right? Is that here is Gotland, right? This is a very strategic point in the Baltics because you know it's located here, middle of the ocean, right? The Baltic Sea. But Russia isn't just over here, right? If you didn't know, Russia is also here. This is an Oblast. This is called the Kaliningrad Oblast. So actually it's very, very close to Sweden. So, but yeah, I'm suddenly a very serious video. But just point out that you should understand, Gotland is talking about a lot in the politics and so on. But Visby then is the county capital, whatever you call it in English. The capital of Stockholm, but at the island, this is the biggest city. So a lot of the stuff, right, you see otherwise in Yorushika are basically this city, right, Visby. I have a good friend, actually, fun enough, and I'm in it genuinely, it's why we're here, guys. Fun enough, is that a good friend of mine from the game company that I worked at, that was at Tyska Skolgränd there, he is from here. He is born not here, but his family house is like here. I wanna, dox him, but he basically grew up in this street. Yeah, not even kidding. So he's very, very close located to the other place. In maybe is my friend actually and Buna, but in all seriousness, he is from very closely then to where the other places are in most of the music videos. So this is the most famous place then. It's called Visby Ringmur. So this is a very common place, tourist attraction here, right? You want to go to if you're in Visby. You can hear it. I've been here, of course, but I have only been here once in Gotland, so I'm not a Gotland expert. But the Ringmur is called, which is like it sounds, it's like English, right? Ring, it's a ring, right? Circle wall. As it's mentioned, right, this why I bring it up, is because that is a very famous place, right? So very famous. The island just, like I said, strategically very advanced, so to speak. No, but it was very important, right, for wars. So the most famous attraction is this ringmur of this island. But anyway, that was the wall of Gotland. Very tourist attraction. Now we're gonna go and find this place. This place here is very famous politically, and I will explain why it's called. It's called Almedalen. It's from Almedalen. Okay. Man, this is a very Swedish video now, I feel. So Almedalen is also very famous in Sweden. You can see it up here, Almedalen. Let's jump into it. This is one image, you will recognize it there, hopefully. I don't know the exact angle, but I've been here, of course. So the reason this is a very... So again, like I said, this is a Gröna video now. The reason this is a very famous place in Sweden is because this is a political place. Okay, so every year they have the Almedalen, I'll call it conference, political speaking. Basically, all the politicians in Sweden go to Almedalen once a year on the summer in Visby and have this like for a few days. It's a huge amount of speech store. It's very, very famous, for example. So as you can see here, right, this is from Instagram, from the political parties in Sweden, the biggest one. It's just a random one here, right? You can see the same park here. It's again, it's where Yorushika, its image is from, right? But now it's like a huge fair instead, so to this thing, right? It's the same place, right? But, so honestly, this is a very, very famous place. Like, taking off the sound again. Serious mode tour now. No, but it is a very serious place in Almedalen. Almedalen Week, as it's called. It's a very notorious political landscape. So, that's what I mean, too. It's kind of funny, right? When I saw the Yorushika imagery, right? And I got into this, like, wait, Yorushika is from Sweden or something? Or live in Sweden? Of course, I also immediately recognized Almedalen. As Almedalen is a famous political place in Sweden. I was like, oh yeah, Almedalen, I've been there, yeah. That's like super iconic for Swedes. Because even if you don't go there, right? Even if you don't go here every year, of course, this on the news you will see image from Almedalen, like, you know, for a lot, right, for a week. So very, very iconic. So yeah, I don't know exactly, right, which sat rock they're looking at. So the next part we're gonna go for London for Yorushika party here is Langhammars or Långhammars, what it's called, in Färö. Somewhere up here, yeah, here we go. I've been here once in my life as well. So this is naturreservat, it's like nature reservation, right? Same English word. You can see it up here. Is the like the apex of the north of Gotland. This is the edge here, the most north part of Gotland, basically. And you recognize it. It's kind of like a similar look, right? It's a very different I'll say it, beach here. So if you jump in here, you can see here, right, you got this kind of statues almost, right, like natural kind of weird buildings. So I don't know exactly, right, from Yorushika. I mean, you get my point. This is a little harder to point out, honestly, because there are several of these. Yeah, this one is a little harder. Honestly, I can't tell you exactly which one it is, but you get my point. This could be, oh, this was crazy on Google Maps. But you get my point. It's like a lot of these. So that one is kind of hard to find. You might not be exactly here. You might have to walk around a bit to find it. But yeah, you get my point. It's one of these, right? It's one of these, like, kind of Moai statue in Sweden, right? Yeah. This is the Swedish version of the Moai statue. Okay, guys, that was the kind of the Swedish thing there. The one thing I want you to really learn from the Swedish tourism there is that Liseberg is better than Lund. But anyway, let's go into the song then. And now let's have it on Swedish then. And Google is like, you want to have a Swedish version? Yes, I do. Nu jävlar. Okay, let's go. And I'm gonna have the Swedish text then. Translate på det, ja. Tonåren. Nej, jag har svarat sig. Ja, den ska åtta nu. Jag get it now! I get it now, it's Gotland of course. Now when I know it's Sweden, I'm like, that's Gotland. It's Gotland. I heard some like test stuff going, I love Yorushika. That's funny, one thing is so weird to me because I heard this song like I don't know how many times before I knew it was Sweden. This might be Stockholm though, the bridge is exactly like Stockholm, I'll show you later the water of the Baltics. Yeah, this is between Stockholm and Gotland here, the water between the ferry. Yeah, this is what yeah, but this actually okay, so let's break it down. But I just want to iterate, right? That I used to work. This is my house, baby. That is my house in the album. Like, it's crazy. That's my house. But seriously, when I saw this thing, I was like, that is literally the building I used to, yeah, like 3 years, man. Like, why is my house on a Japanese music album? What is this thing, man? But anyway, let's break down the full song then. Because there's one thing that I realized now, and obviously all people have talked about this before, I suppose, or I found some on Reddit or so on, but there's one place, which I'm gonna guess, of course, in the music video, where I take it in Stockholm. So instead of jumping, we go over it, of course, frame by frame, but before that, I want to put out this one place, which I'm guessing it is. Where was that? I think it's here. So here it is, right? So the thing is that, obviously, I talked about earlier, it's like Gamla, the old town, or Gamla staden, or whatever you call it. And this here, though, this is kind of generic, but there is one location in Stockholm that I think this actually is. And I'm going on a limb here, of course, because, whatever, right? The other places are kind of more famous. But there is one place on Kungsholmen, is a king, right? So in islet. So on the King Islet, there's a very famous, like, tourist, like, I guess, like a swimming location, basically. We go over this place, and it's like the trams go on this train. So, like, it's not as iconic, right, as, like, the museums or as, Old Town or whatever. But as a general, if you grew up in Stockholm, this is a place a lot of people go and swim when they are kids, right? So, because you can swim, you're swimming inside the city, basically, right? But it's like this kind of water bracketing holding you so you won't get post or whatever. Let me show what I mean here on Google Maps. Okay, so it's back to Stockholm again then, right? Let me just explain what I think is then. So this is again the old town, right? The center of the city. So like I said, it is super iconic. The German church, all the stuff, the Riddarholm and all the stuff, right? And whatever. So yeah, great. If you're gonna be a tourist again, you should go here. And like this region is the basic region you can visit, right? Here you have all the museums and all that stuff, and a little bit here. Södermalm is a hippie island. And yeah, you don't go to Södermalm and it's hippies there, so hippies ever. Like, not even joking. Södermalm is famously very like bohemic or bohemic. You know that, right? People call stuff bohemic in English, right? But it's actually pronounced Böhmen, yeah, in Swedish too, of course. So we don't call it Bohemian, we call it Böhmen, right? Let's point out. But anyway, so this is called the King Islet, okay? So I think it's this bridge here. This bridge is very famous, but it's like a local place then, right? So here a lot of people go on the beach and swim here, right? Strand means beach. So this is a very like famous like bath swimming place in the city, this region here. And here's like a lot of parks and parking and so on, right? So if you go down here then we land, see here. So it's a beautiful park, right? There's one pool for children, some like kid pool, stuff like that, I think. If you go down the side of the bridge, I think it's like mini golf over here. I never played it, but I have been on this island. I was like a conference on this island once. So yeah, so here's like mini golf. There's Thai food, very popular Swedish course. I think it's like mini golf here. Am I just crazy now? But this is what I mean. This island is somewhat of like maybe like a tourist island, but rather an island you kind of go to if you live in Stockholm, right? And you hang out with your your friends or whatever. That's what I think that if Mbana grew up, there's the meaning of it on there. And it doesn't mean if they grew up in Sweden, right? You might have gone to this island just to hang out with your friends or whatever. Here's some parks. There's like an activity park over here, stuff like that, right? So this island, I think I'm gonna be right here because, like I said, this is not like a cultural place, right? But it's a very like popular, like just like if you live in Stockholm, you might go here. So this is one of the bridges, but we have to go under it then to find this place. And obviously I'm just guessing here, but of course I'll be right. But I think it's this bit here, right? Because it looks exactly like it. If you go under here. Here we go, right? You get this feeling. So this is the big bridge, and you see here, right? You get my point. It's a bunch of like activity parks, some Super Mario style to it. You get my point. This is like a this whole bridge is like a pretty popular, again, not a tourist attraction, but more for kids, right? Children and families or whatever. And this is kind of the angle I think that the music video is, right? You're kind of walking up here. You see this thing and so on, and if you go down here, then you get one of the locations you can swim in, and I think we can jump a bit here. So if we're here then, right, if you jump a little bit up north, this is like a maybe 10-minute walk, I think, something like that, then we get to this like swimming location and all this stuff. So here you can go and bath then and so on, right? This is like a famous, again, bath place. All this here, all the ships, right? And you can swim. So if you can get it on you, you can swim, go down here, you can swim and so on. And if you take this path around then, if you go here, then you can get back to the bridge, right? So I think that's it, because to go back here, and obviously I know, it's like a generic bridge or whatever, right? But it looks like that, almost exactly underneath it. Like I showed you there, it's like activities for kids, right? It's like those the Mario pipes, and it's like a park next to it, and it's swimming next to it. And like I said, if the artist, I assume then, to my setting here for Sweden, right, grew up in Stockholm for a few years, right, this would be a location you very likely would visit, right? Like I didn't grow up in Stockholm, so I don't know, but I have a lot of friends, of course, from Stockholm. But let's break it down frame by frame and so on. But as a side note, though, it's put out, guys, okay? If I'm wrong in this video, it is not my fault, it's the other person's fault. No, but honestly, right, like I said earlier, I'm from the West Coast, baby, okay? I don't know why I tell you exactly, where my dad lives or whatever. But like I said, I went to school with PewDiePie. That's not a video, but that is a fact. I knew Felix before he's famous and so on, right? So I'm from the West Coast, just like him and so on. So we're from that Liseberg area, right? So yeah, I went to Liseberg all the time with my friends. So I never grew up in Stockholm, okay? I've been there, of course, a lot, but I never grew up in. So that's my excuse, okay? I'm from the West Coast, whereas we call it West Coast. I don't know Stockholm that. Okay, so if you want to learn Swedish here, I stared into your eyes and last time I was like an editor. Yeah. I suppose someone has translated this, right? Because now, yeah, this is kind of fun. I just want to put out. I saw it last time too. I want to put out. Okay, this I assume is someone, right? This is not YouTube editor. This session, because here it says, "Hey du som gjorde texten." Jag hoppas se detta. So it's like, "Hello there. You have written the text before me." This is like an editor note here. Hey guy, the editor before me. I have now changed some of your edits. You can good start or something, but it's really badly written. Editor F. It's like an editor. Hey bro, I edit some of your translations. I'm sorry if I did something wrong here. Like what? Man, so I suppose it is Stockholm then, right? You're walking here. I have to say though, this is pretty common for anime. Yeah, this thing here is very Japanese also, right? You see it in a lot of animes when you kind of go and you have this down to like some kind of ribbon. And this is, I guess, Gotland now when I know it. Yeah, this is the in Gotland, right? And this is this says, "Even if I pull a thread from my heart." So you can see, right, it's somewhat easy for us Swedes to almost learn English because a lot of words are the same. So like thread is tråd, right? I think especially it's a lot of nouns, of course. But it's also because, you know, English has taken a lot of our words. That's the reason why, right? I think a lot of people are used to kind of like, for example, in Japan, right? In Nihongo, you have words like, you know, arbeito, right? You know, arbete and so on. It's actually a Swedish word. Yeah, but you have a lot of words, right, in Nihongo that are coming from, you know, the travelers, right? And everything of course katakana. But what people misunderstand, I think, is that just because English today is the common loan word, right, that we take into our language, but historically, because the Vikings the Vikings with Thor and so on, the Vikings had a massive impact with the Dannelag and so on, right, etc. In on the English islands, right? This has a lot of words from like Swedish, Danish, and Norwegian, Old Norse in England, and of course they're both Germanic languages, you know, so they're very similar. So there's a huge amount of words, especially nouns, then, right? So for example, the example is window, right? Window, right? Behind the character, right? Window. That's a Norwegian word. Yeah. It's called vindu, right? Means the highest, like that's very cool. So a lot of the nouns. Probably the bridge in Stockholm, right? At the King Islet, I think so. Maybe I'm just going to live there now, but I'm right. That's what I pointed out. Yeah, they have that in Sweden. This is a Swedish way to do it, I suppose. I don't matter that much, but this is literally how they are in Sweden when I think about it. But Japan has a similar style. This is a typical tower, yeah, that you have in Gotland as well. I think so, right? So you have two kind of these towers in Sweden. They're either Luca towers or they're like jumping towers on the beach. They're very common in my that's my favorite part, of course. And this is mitt självförsvar, my self-defense. Like I said, both word and English is very similar. It's the same word, but it's kind of different. like the Baltics, right? Gotland's ocean. As a side note, a nerd side note, the Baltics is very famous for its grundligt vatten. Okay, it's very very shallow water. It's not a lot of depth in the Baltics, and it's an interesting with a lot of the submarine Russian and so on backstory there. Because it's actually hard being a submarine and a ship in overall around Gotland because it's such a there's not much depth at all. Very very and it's a lot of like different latitudes of the actual ground. Yeah, but it's like it's fun. It's very uneven where the water is shallow around Gotland. This is actually very hard to navigate. That's why the submarine incident happened. Twice though. It's actually hard to travel. It's a very very hard place to actually. It's like the world. Yeah, but honestly, sorry for this nerd side note, but in all seriousness, the Baltics is like one of the worst places in the world to have a submarine place. That's why it's kind of fun that the Germans, the ubåt of course, called in German, it's ubåt, underwater boat, right? U underwater, and the Russians are famous for submarines, right? Russians and Germans, but they both have the submarines at literally the worst places submarines at. Like it's ridiculous, yeah. Like I'm face already, but yeah. Well, I was talking. Everything's your fault. Oh, that was fun. It is definitely There's one place that I love in Stockholm that I always think about that I want to next time I'm in Stockholm I will have to go to this place. Jag ändrar inte den perrong again then. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video because I find one of my favorite cases. Just kind of like this, because there's one place in Sweden that has this like amazing lake in Stockholm, and it looks like a JRPG boss battle place, right? So next time I'm in Stockholm, in the summer, if I'm in the summer, I'm definitely gonna go around with the image of that. I thought for a while that make a video where I cover different nature places where I think this is where a game should happen or a music should happen. For example, last year when I was doing some bandmade reactions in the recent one, I thought it was really interesting when they're making one song in a quarry, like a abandoned quarry. I was like, oh man, this is badass, right? So I kind of liked that idea itself, and because I've done a lot of video games myself, right? When I'm out walking or whatever, when I see stuff like this would be a cool place, the inspiration. So see if I can find it. I don't know if Google will handle that, but let's try. I found it here, you know. Oh, this is what I want, man. I love this kind of stuff, you know. So this is a lake here. I used to live next to this thing a couple of years ago, like 20 years ago. And see, it's a park, right? They have like a gazebo on the sideline. Over there's the ocean over there, right? I love this kind of stuff. You have this cool little house and so on. Not surprising, right? I used to do a lot of level design in video games and so on. I love this stuff, But yeah, love to get subscribed, slap it, and then, you know, do more of this kind of videos, more personal videos and so on. But I enjoy it, and I do really like Yorushika. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and we can do more Yorushika reactions and breakdowns. But I don't know, this felt more like a Swedish culture thing now, but I just wanted to give a little personal spin on it, right? Because I really did feel like, whoa, I used to, like, basically live there for 3 years next to that image. I was like, wow, it really was like, felt like weirdly personal suddenly when I saw that and Spotify on there. I was like, that is something I recognize 100%, immediately recognize it. I was like, that is that street. I've been there so many times. So I was like, Jesus Christ. But anyways, I guess they have. Great day.